they might have had a chance together. He fought her with full energy and intelligence, as she had wanted to be loved. Everything was her fault. She should never have married Josh. She had been passionately in love, only once in her life, too young, and never again. But if she had not married Josh, she would not have had Ari. Oh, she felt guilty, all right, as she looked at Josh's narrow back, the deep groove of his spine, vulnerable, bent slightly forward as if some chill wind blew only on him. She had promised to love him. And she had tried to love him, but the relationship had felt thin and incomplete. During their courtship, she had thought he was beginning to learn to talk to her, to respond more sensually and directly. In the born-again Shintoism of YS, they were both Marranos, a term borrowed from the Spanish Jews under the Inquisition who had pretended to be Christian to survive. YS followed a form of revivalist Shinto grafted with Christian practices such as baptism and confession. Marranos, in contemporary usage, were Jews who worked for multis and went to church or mosque, paid lip service, and practiced Judaism secretly at home. All multis had their official religion as part of the corporate culture, and all gruds had to go through the motions. Like Shira, Josh had the habit of lighting candles privately on Friday night, of saying the prayers, of keeping the holidays. It had seemed rational for them to marry. He had been at YS for 10 years. She had come straight from graduate school at 23. YS had outbid the other multis for her in Edinburgh. Like most of the brightest students in Norica, the area that had been the U.S. and Canada, she had gone to school in the affluent quadrant of Europa, so she had had no choice but to come here. She had been lonely, unused to the strict and protocol-hedged hierarchy of YS. She had grown up in the free town of Tikva, accustomed to warm friendships with women, to men who were her pals. Here she was desperately lonely, and constantly in minor trouble. Often she wondered if her troubles were caused by the particular corporate culture of YS, or if it would be the same in any multi-enclave. There were 23 great multis that divided the world among them, enclaves on every continent and on space platforms. Among them, they wielded power and enforced the corporate peace. Raids, assassinations, skirmishes, but no wars since the 2-week war in 2017. Josh had been born to an Israeli couple, survivors of the 2-week war a terrorist had launched with a nuclear device that had burned Jerusalem off the map, a conflagration of biological, chemical, and nuclear weapons that had set the oil fields aflame and destroyed the entire region. He had been orphaned at 10, wandering without a country in the period Jews called the Troubles, when the whole world blamed them for the disasters that put an end to oil dependence in a maelstrom of economic chaos. Nothing had come easy to him in life. The more he opened to her and told her, the more precious he seemed to her in that fervid courtship, and the more she felt herself absolutely necessary to him. She was astonished that at first she had thought him cold. How he had suffered! He needed her like air itself. He had seemed to be opening. Shortly after the marriage he had insisted upon, he began changing back. He acted happy. He seemed delighted with her, but from a distance. As for getting to know her better, as for sharing his inner life or taking an interest in hers, those pastimes seemed uninteresting to him, lacking in urgency. Ari was supposed to mend that breach. Since the birth of their son, all Josh's after-work energy focused on Ari. She often suspected that if they did not have Ari, they would have nothing to talk about. Their silence roared in her ears.